All right, so today's something a little different. We're going to do a little preventive maintenance on the airplane, and as a pilot, airplane owner, and a certificated pilot, there are certain things you can do with the airplane for preventive maintenance. So what I plan on doing is changing the oil in the filter, put new spark plugs in. I'm going to remove the tires, change out the tires and tubes. Last annual, my mechanic said that that probably due for some new tires. He did rotate them for even wear, but got new tires, new tubes. I think that's about what I'm going to do today. You're going to save a lot of money if you do your own maintenance. Everybody has a different way of doing it, so if you see the way that I'm doing it and you know a better way, hey, let me know. That'd be great. But I've been doing my own preventive maintenance on airplanes for 28 years. I've learned a lot. I always do an owner-assisted annual. So let's get to it. I think I'm going to start with the oil first because I have to start the engine, warm it up, and get the oil out. So let's. I'm going to go ahead and get into some coveralls, and we'll get rolling. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start draining the oil, but before I do, every oil change, I'm not sponsored by them, but I do a oil analysis, make sure there's not any metal or anything going on with the engine. I use AvLab, been using it for years, and I just go online and you can do a comparison of all your previous oil analysis. Anyways, let's go ahead and get under the plane here. Usually, well, not usually, I used to use a hose, so I can get under here, a hose from the quick drain right here down here. It was just a pain, so, and now I just push up into the side, and here it comes. Well, that wasn't too bad. With a retractable landing gear, with people that replace their quick drains up there, do not get one that's not for retractable landing gear. This is a short quick drain, because what happens is the landing gear goes up if you put the wrong quick drain plug in there and pushes up on the quick drain, and all your oil comes out just like it would right now. So if you're ever and you shouldn't be doing it unless you're a certified mechanic anyways. So anyways, that's just a helpful hint from Jeff. So now let's take a sample, let it run for a little bit, and now we'll take a sample. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and capture some of this because it's been running for a bit. You never want to capture the first part coming out. That's all we need. All right, now we'll get this cleaned up, labeled, and shipped off. Okay, so also is we're going to, I think that helps drain the oil a little faster, but we're going to take that out. Now there's the oil filter. We're going to go ahead and cut the safety wire off, which is kind of hidden behind this oil line, and then put a new filter on, and then put some new safety wire on. Okay, so I cut the safety wire here, and I cut the safety wire here, so now we just remove it. And the safety wire is there here, so it prevents the oil filter from getting loose and spinning off. It'll stop that from happening. Now for the messiest part is getting the oil filter off. Yeah, this part sucks. So I've got this little container that I try to shove underneath to catch as much oil as I can. It looks like coming to an end down there for the oil coming out. The wind's going to start blowing it around. When you change your own oil, it can be messy. I'm sure there's steps you can take to mitigate this mess, and I try to do that. But so I'm shoving this down in here. Ooh, look what I spy. There's my electronic ignition. That thing is nice. Loving it. When you're in here, kind of check things. All right, so I've got that underneath there, and I'm going to go ahead and get the wrench for the filter. You can get a wrench, like a socket, put it on the back side of the oil filter. I've just always had this from my automotive days, and it works just fine. Get this in here to catch as much oil as possible. We're going to just start by just slightly loosening it. Here comes the hard part. Oil starts coming out. All right. Not terrible, but terrible. So there's some cleanup. It may look like it may seem like you have an oil leak for a couple of days or a couple of flights, just because you get oil that kind of drips down into nooks and crannies. All right, so let's take this out. Captured a significant amount of oil. Get some rags. I've got a little bit of spillage down in here. It's not terrible, but let's clean up what we can right now. I know you can't hear it, but in the background somewhere there's an event going on and they're singing the national anthem. Very faint. So I use the Tempest oil filters. Spin-on oil filter. Read up on your oil filter. Some people use on the rubber section a gasket, either oil or some sort of gasket sealer or whatever. On the Tempest, it tells you do not put anything on. Leave it dry. Do not put anything on this gasket. So if you have been, they don't want you to. Okay, and before we put on the filter, I like to fill out the information portion on the filter. Looks like the oil has stopped, and we're going to go ahead and close the quick drain, so that when we put oil back into the plane, it's not just going all the way through and back out again, which has happened to people. So we won't do that. So I'm going to go ahead and close the quick drain. We're going to get the filter on and start putting oil in it and a little bit of cam guard. So the old filter has a lot of oil in it. You want to get rid of that because we're going to cut the filter open and just look at it. But you want to just get all that out. Here's a little spot to hold the filter, but I've had it fall in the oil and that's no good. Okay. So you don't want to put it on too tight. You do want to spin it on quick enough that the oil that you did put in the filter doesn't come out. And then I put the wrench back on it and I twist until the information that I put on there, the date, the tack time, and everything, registration, it's always the same. Every single time I put it on, it shows up right facing me here, and I know it's on tight enough. So now we're going to go ahead and put the safety wire on so it doesn't potentially spin off in flight. Okay, so it's super hard to see, but there is a tab right here. It's got a hole. The safety wire goes through there, around, and we'll put it on this bottom tab here. And you can see how that wire is through that tab. We've got enough, we pull enough through to where it both, so we have two strands come down, and then we'll put it through and safety wire it up. I'm going to pull a little more through. Okay, these are safety wire pliers. So when you lock it up, you pull this and it twists the wire. Okay, we're gonna lock this in, and you just start spinning. And we got one more, and that does it. Okay, and that lines up pretty good. Unlock it. Through. Okay, we're gonna pull that through. Get our safety wire pliers. Lock it, spin it on. All right, that's tight, that's nice. Cut the rest of the excess tab off, the excess wire. And we're going to bend those down so it doesn't snag anything, especially your skin. All right, that is tight. Okay, using a clean rag, I'm going to pull dipstick out. It's looking good. Set it aside. We're now going to put some oil in. This is the remainder of the oil that I put in the filter. So you don't have to stick around. It threads in, boop, and you can go off and do something else. Let's make sure that oil isn't going in all the way through and out the bottom, because the quick drain at the bottom was left open. I know I closed it, but you want to double check that it's actually closed. And it's looking good. There's no oil coming through. Perfect. Oil's in. The Aero holds, the IO 360, it's fuel injected, holds 8 quarts of oil. You're wasting money if you put 8 quarts of oil in there. I put 7 quarts in. It's going to blow out on my first flight a half a quart. It'll settle at around 6.5 quarts, always does. So now I've got 7 quarts in, and I'm going to put some cam guard in there. It is FAA accepted and approved. And let's see, So you put 1.6 ounces in per quart, 7 quarts. It's about 11 ounces, maybe a tad more than 11 ounces, but go ahead and get that in there. So this bottle was a partial from the last oil change. Add a little more from another bottle. So there's 10, there's 11, and a little bit probably. I think it came up to 11.2 ounces. So we'll go ahead and pour that in. All right, now we put the dipstick back in. Now if we take it out, it's gonna kind of be messy, I think, because it's all around the sides, but that's nice clean oil. Perfect. And that is done. The next thing we would do is we would pull it out, or we will pull it out, run the engine to make sure there's no leaks. However, I'm going to keep going with all the maintenance, preventive maintenance that I'm planning on doing. I'm going to do the, I think I'll do the spark plugs next, and then hopefully get to the tires and inner tubes, and then we'll pull it out, start it, make sure everything works the way it should.